Well, hello everybody. I hit it hard with Mercedes Stevenson Global News. I've tagged Global in it. Apparently, Twitter, I get to be made an ass like I always am in media, the joke of Canada. The brunt of the jokes, always by media. If you haven't looked me up, you'll find all kinds of terrible, terrible publications. Apparently, I'm a racist, a pervert, a Marxist-Leninist, a radical Nazist. It can go on and on forever. Um, I do have many of the world's most incredible legal minds in constitutionalism. I took the government publication, made available to each and every Canadian citizen. But there's no civics in Canada. I read a lot of her comments. Her story angered me as she chops the charter out of a three grouped together highest laws of our land. Okay. 1867 is the preliminary. You place the charter in the middle of it in a section B under the 1982 constitutional reform and revisions as they're combined together to make one entire start to finish read. The greatest minds of Canada have laid this out for you. It's clear, it's legible, Lewis and whole. I tried to articulate this to Mercedes Stevenson, and of course I get the Twitter roll propaganda that I'm claiming the Charter's propaganda. No, I'm claiming you, Mercedes Stevenson, are propaganda. When you tear apart the entire three separate documents, which is the Constitutional Act of Canada, called 1867-1982, where the Charter, everybody, where the Charter is a chapter of, you have preliminary, middle, and end. That is the Consolidated Constitutional Act of Canada, 1867-1982, by Canada's very best legal minds. Okay? I was very happy Richard Wagner, Chief of Justice in the Supreme Court of Canada, had rewritten much of Governor General in many offices, outlining Crown customary law that is only found in 1867, the overwhelming document, its own separate act, the highest law of Canada, which is the politician's power. Mercedes, the issue is that you never address the Crown. You're a part of it. You know it. You want to make fun of me. You want to use a big following, get people all stirred up. Paint me as an anti-vaxxer. I'm triple shot. If you ever bothered to follow me, I know when I had all the Trump populism I used in my 2019, and I needed that. I needed that to be able to reach government officials because unlike the rest of society, I understand the Twitter platform. I understand that if you ever want to reach any government official, you ever want to reach anywhere in the world, you do it through Twitter. It's even better than snail mail, ladies and gentlemen. That's a fact. You're better off in Twitter than you are with the cell phone. The greatest mechanism platform I've ever experienced. In my neck of the woods, what I try to go for, which is truth. That's a dangerous combination in politics. Mercedes proves that today. She couldn't even share the most sacred of all documents in Canada, the highest law of the land, as it really is. They never show you in its entirety, Lewis and whole, as I have many times. I don't have a big audience. I'm not a populist. I never will be. Mercedes groups me into an unvaccinated protester, triple vaccinated, as all of you, my loyal followers and friends know, as my entire family is, all the children within the age ranges. Yes, I followed the Pfizer protocol. Yes, I went first. Yes, I made that choice. Whether I felt pressured or not, at the end of the day, I made that choice for myself and my family. There shouldn't be a great big divide. Mercedes, what is a great divide is when civics is not available to each and every Canadian. When my fellow Canadians and First Peoples continue blurble out absolute fallacy, fiction, fraud of grand scale, where my fellow countrymen and women of Canada and the First Peoples continually fall victim and prey to every foreign scam out there at the largest margin beyond any other country, first, second world status country. My Canadians, my First Peoples, all of you together systematically fall into that over and over. Now, why is that? Mercedes Stephenson, if you read the 1867-1982 Consolidated Constitutional Act of Canada as it's laid out for you by the greatest minds Canada ever had and currently has had, you would know that the politicians take everything for themselves and leave all of us nothing. There's no soul of this nation. There is only divine autocracy of those politicians and those who swear to them. Media's lost. America, Russia, yeah, I get it. They're defined in their souls of their nations. They have these blind spots because they can't see it, because they wouldn't believe it, but they're learning it now. I have many experts I'm reaching at that very real level. And you can laugh. I'm moving more Democrats than I ever could move any Canadians, none whatsoever across any aisle. And when that happens, you'll all see, and you can laugh and you can say, this isn't going to happen. That crowd is strong. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. We'll just share it to the people to keep them dumbed down, keep them believing in all this propagated propaganda by none other than the government, who's been manipulating the people for over 70 years since King George VI passed in 1952. Canada never ever got any real true independence. It's seen in the Commonwealth Charter 2012, the betrayal first by Harper. We can go back even earlier than that, Mercedes Stephenson. You can laugh, where Brian Mulroney absolutely amends entirely the Criminal Code of Canada. Because of South Africa, because heaven forbid, the allies of World War II, the United Nations Security Council, permanent members ever got a sniff wind of what Canada was and is today, the oldest form of the Nazi Germany template, the same one based out of all former colonials. It's what South Africa was, which terrified liberals and conservatives alike. Just as the day King George VI died, before he finished his great works, they picked up that crown, they stole the crown. If you read 1867, Mercedes Stephenson, or any Canadian in real civics, we don't have any in Canada, that wouldn't be good for the crown. You would read in 1867 that all provinces were mandated, when you get to Section 92, to craft a provincial constitution cementing their powers, rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability. If you read much more of real world-binding international law, you would know the government had a responsibility post-World War II, according to the Charter of the UN 1945. That you're sworn to, you believe in, you signed on, all your pre-governments agreed to. You agreed to educate all the people. That was never my education. I had to go to the higher learning. I had to leave Canada for that great education. I had to go to the greatest institutions around the entire world, through absolutely the entirety of USA and all their top academic institutions, as well as the UK. You can call me a liar, you can say I'm nothing, I'm nobody, and you're true on that, but not the liar. I may be a third-class citizen, low on the totem pole of life, but I have done a first-class job of getting to the truth and doing the work, because all third-class working citizens do. They work hard every day of their lives while their government takes more, and more. Canadians of all walks of life, wherever you sit on any realm of your believed left or right narrative, read the Constitution of Canada, Lewis and Holes, off the website provided, start to finish, for the first time in your life. Practice real civics. I know it's a foreign concept, you've heard the term, but where was all your civics in school? There's none. There is none. USA, there's civics. Look at their education system. They know their Constitution. When they're right or wrong, their Supreme Court operates as an independent judiciary on their behalf, because it's sworn under rules of governance how to govern an absolute accountability to all the people. Presidents fail time and time again when they breach the Constitution of the United States of America. In Canada, after you've gone through the first third, the 1867, you'll realize there are no rules of governance, no how to govern, or absolutely any accountability, let alone any democracy, if your divine politicians don't want there to be. It's called the Crown. There's a federal component, a provincial component. The provinces and territories wear it much, much stronger. There is zero governing documents over how they operate provincially. And for federal, they can just make a deal with the province to usurp all democracy, the divine right of kings. Read all of it in its entirety. The opening preamble will see you give up all of your sovereignty, the soul of a would-be nation, your autonomy, your self-determination. It absolutely destroys all the first people entirely. It limits all working Joe Janes, the third class, as it's represented from the age of the Titanic. First, second, third. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, Mercedes Stephenson. You're a great grad school literarian, but you don't know law. You don't know the world. You don't know economics. You don't know the reality of where this country's going and what it certainly has never been. Thanks, everybody. That's my video. If you had the courage to stick through it, we'll see if it ever reaches Mercedes Stephenson. We'll see if they ever give an interview to one of the greatest legal minds Canada's ever produced, my good friend Richard Albert. And let's talk from one end of the aisle through the other, all three pieces. I'm just an average Joe Jane. I have the incredible ability to organize in this world. It's a God-given gift I was born with. I read very well. I understand what I read. My strengths are in law and economics. I'm not a great writer. I'm not a great speller, printer, and all the rest of it. Those weren't the gifts I was bestowed on this earth. But I've done tremendously well for somebody in my class that should never go as far as I've ever gone. And if you search for the truth, you will find it. If you really care about Canadians, you care about real, true publication, let's start with what Canada really is for all the people. Let's start a topic on real civics and what we really are. Because we most certainly are not any kind of real nation in this world today since 1945. And many have fallen because of that fact. And I believe it's Canada's turn, and I won't stop until I know everybody has had the truth. Bye now.